guess who is now the official woman crush? It is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, a woman that has become a symbol for resistance in Nigeria's political space. Recall that she's been through quite the journey of opposition and stumbling blocks right from the inception of her journey. Remember when she had the roads to her polling units broken? She conquered that journey, having defeated the White Lion
from visiting constituents.
That one is still far.
During Saga. I'm
chronicling it. So first of all, during elections, the road leading to where the electorates could vote, the roads were destroyed overnight. But she found a way to surpass that challenge. And then she got into the election, and her victory had to be upheld by the court for her to get into office as Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She got into office, then it was the issue of sitting arrangement. Before that the Senate president had made reference to her saying, Senator Natasha Akpoti, this is not a nightclub. And after being dragged on social media, he went and apologized. Then the issue of the sitting arrangement came up, and she refused. Then she went on television and accused the Senate president of sexual harassment, and there began the battle of all battles for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, because not only was she suspended, even her application to have the Senate president investigated, her official complaint, Senator Nedi Maswen had said the application is dead on arrival due to technical irregularities. It felt like she never even had a chance from the jump, because after making that report to the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee, they just said dead on arrival. Why? Because she signed it herself. Someone else had to sign it. Being one of the 4 out of 109 women in the Senate, it looked like women were becoming endangered.
And she was alone. She didn't even have the support of a female colleague, so, which makes it very interesting. So it was almost a battle, but she wasn't on her own. She was supported by her constituents and a wide range of Nigerians. As
she was leaving, she said, this injustice will not be sustained.
Yes.
And we thought, okay, this is something that will be sorted out in the court. Eventually, the 6-month
she served the entire
suspension, she ended up serving the entire 6-month suspension. Now, at the expiration of her 6 months, they refused to allow her resume office.
Another battle.
Office was sealed. Another battle.
Another challenge.
You know, even after the court had declared her suspension unconstitutional, illegal, and excessive, they still did not return her to office. And when it was time for her to return to the office, they refused for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to
But what's the latest?
However, in recent time,
the twist in the drama?
The twist in the story is that yesterday, Peter Aka and some other activists, you could see a video where he carried his mattress and his Ghana must go and said he has arrived, that they're all going to march to the Senate. And before they will march to the Senate made an official video unveiling the unsealing of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's office. Bear in mind that they have never done this before.
Yes, and they never done a show us when they were sealing.
Yes, they did not show
the office in the first place.
Fear of the people. But let's take a look at this video, and we'll come back to talk more about it.
Senator Natasha Akpoti's office. I, Alabi, the Deputy Director, Sergeant at Arms, hereby unseal the office. The office is hereby unsealed. Thank you.
The office is hereby unsealed. And with that comes the end of the suspension saga, I believe, the symbolic gesture there. But I hope they get thinner to clean and do a proper removal of that sticker from. But that's the least of the issues. But she stooped to conquer. No, she did stoop to conquer.
She stood to conquer.
And I mean, she's a warrior woman. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan.
I forgot to mention one of the hurdles she had to deal with, which you had made reference to, was her homecoming. How they had put
and then puts obstacles, oxbow lakes, and all sorts of
They said you cannot come in by road and
all sorts of shackles and manacles.
She flew in.
She came in with a helicopter. So many challenges. A woman king that we celebrate on a Wednesday here.
Absolutely.
Breakfast Central.
So congratulations to the people of Kogi Central.
Exactly.
The fight for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan wasn't necessarily about her, just about her.
It was standing up for a democratic principles and institutions.
That's one. It was also standing up for the rights of the people of Kogi Central, because you cannot say that people of Kogi Central cannot have representation. The same way that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan was voted in by his well, that's another conversation. It's the same way that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan was voted in by her constituents. They were all senators. I mean, no one is more equal than another. The Senate President is just first among equals. First among equals, right? So she did complain, saying that there was, she said that the Senate President had treated her like a servant. In her video, a video was made in the office where she said that the Senate President had treated her like a servant, that this was a fight against injustice, that the Senate President is not more of a senator than she is, and that he had treated her with disrespect. And that was just an avenue for her to also thank everyone who had supported her. She thanked the people of Kogi Central. She thanked the media and press, even though she said that there had been some silence in the past few months, and she feels like there was elements of intimidation that had got into the press. So she said she thanked her husband for supporting her, says she wished every wife would get the support from their husbands that she got from her husband. And she just thanked people in general. Okay, but now let's take a look at this video and we'll come back to talk some more.
Mentioned. I read on the news, online news, that our office has been opened. I even saw a video where the clerk was opening the door to the office himself. So as at this moment, I have not been officially communicated to, because I expect an institution like the National Assembly should have some administrative procedures and processes whereby communications will be written. The last written communication we got from the clerk was that which says that we are not allowed to resume because the case is at the appeal court. He also said, and so I'm still awaiting the letter because it's...
This is record now. You are not to record.
Amazing how much we have had to face and survive in the past 6 months. And most of it happened to the full glare of Nigerians. From the unjust suspension to the recall. We survived the recall. We survived the blockage of roads and waterways into Kogi that we have to fly in through using the helicopter. We survived the blackmail from the so-called woman from the crazy lady on Facebook. Yeah, so, you know, it's amazing what we had to survive. And I give God Almighty the glory and my deepest appreciation to the good people of Kogi Central, Kogi State, and Nigeria at large. My husband, my love, if you say this, I love you dearly. In short, I pray all men support their wives as much as you have supported me. And my children, thank you for your sacrifices. So in everything, it just shows that sometimes it's good to put the institutions to test. We can't cow down in the face of injustice. No one is more Nigerian than us. Senator Akpoti is not more of a senator than I am. He's not a governor of this place. And he treated me as if I was his servant or I was a domestic staff in his house. It's very unfortunate that at this time, after so many years of democracy, we would have a National Assembly be run by such dictatorship. It's totally unacceptable. As for me, I'm glad to be here. And even though we have been illegally suspended, no day have I hesitated in effectively carrying out my duties as a senator of Kogi Central to the very best of my capacity. I have never, no day went by without me looking out for opportunities, either in terms of bringing infrastructure or projects to my people, and even jobs wherever I could, because I didn't want them to suffer, you know, the neglect and the vacuum that was created by this injustice. So I thank people like Auntie Obi, Esikwisili, Sister Aisha, Mama P, Peter The Rock, and many others, Dr. Abiola, Yemi of Enough is Enough, Uncle Femi Falana, I mean, men and Nigerians I can't even call. I mean, I've read your posts, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, His Excellency Sarah Key, I mean, many people who have lent their voices, thank you, and even political parties, Labour Party, ADC, I saw their statements, and my beloved PDP. Thank you so much for standing up. Nigerian Bar Association, Nigeria Labour Congress.
Wow, so I guess that wraps it up.
Wraps what up?
The episode, the drama, and all parties can go back to the National Assembly and do their business.
I don't think that it's over.
Why? Because of the court cases?
Yes, there are still court cases. Remember that there was also an allegation that she made about the Senate president, his alleged attempt on her life. And you know,
the suspension part of this episode is over. The
suspension part is hopefully over. We really hope that it's over. But I think the one thing that it has shown is that if you can hold on, you can really fight to the finish. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has become a symbol of resistance, a symbol of a fight for one's right, and a fight for a collective right and misrepresentation of justice. If for nothing else, the very least that the Senate should have done would be to show that, you know, they had a fair had her interest at heart, and that they were fair, and that could have been done simply by conducting an investigation and not trying to mar it with unnecessary...
So all of this could have been avoided?
All of this could have been avoided. It simply could have been avoided if they had received a petition from the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee without making it a big deal, you know, and say, you know what, we would investigate it. It didn't look like from the jump. Their body language did not look like it was in her favor.
Oh, it was almost,
like that it
was almost premeditated.
Yes, yeah. And nobody's saying that you should totally lean towards what she's saying, but at least give her as much of a fair fighting chance as you have given the Senate
president. And it's just
president.
the basic principles of natural justice. But let's take a look at what Nigerians are saying. There's been widespread reactions from all quarters. Let's start by looking at what Odi Simon says. Ahaha. What a joke. I thought they said they would not. It's a shame. The people have spoken, and it has clearly shown that power belongs to the people indeed. When I say power belongs to the people, please, I don't mean PDP, because all of them are the same after all. Okay. Odi Simon, we get you. Dr. Bankole says, a true fighter. Congratulations, and thanks for holding your ground. This is the kind of pushback that Nigerians need to give against the corrupt order. From Dr. Bankole. Joe Johnson, not Johansson, says, that's good, very awful that it even had to last this long. Hope she's ever allowed to, hope she's ever allowed to speak on issues and debates on the floor of the Senate again. I don't understand. This tweet by Joe. But let's move on. Rita ENG1234 says, yeah, a very big thank you to everyone who took out time to join in making this a success. Dear Pabio, sir, if you have a case with Senator Natasha Akpoti, please do it without our institutions illegally, please. Okay. So that's all we have.
And these are not all the people. We also have Mrs. Obieze-Kwesili, who had reacted to this. She had gone on X and put out a tweet as well saying that, she said, glad to see Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is in our office. Nigeria Senate, despite the recalcitrance of Senator Gospel Akpabio and the Senate to keep breaching the Constitution, breaking the laws of the land and undermining the independence of the judiciary, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's eternal words that this injustice shall not be sustained has finally come to pass, and for her tenacity, all reasonable Nigerians applaud. All reasonable Nigerians who value their constitutional rights of citizenship applaud her. Life lesson for the wise. No matter how long those who become intoxicated and carried away by power persist in wrongdoing, like everything else in life, a day of reckoning is always by the corner, when that too shall pass. Hopefully, wisdom will prevail from now on. Nigerian Senate regarding all the subsisting matters that must be resolved on this saga. We watch. And then she's put the emoji of
pen
taking notes. We are watching. And honestly, I would go back again to say that what exactly changed between the past few days when they refused to allow her in, even after she had served the unconstitutional excessive 6-month suspension, because the court had said that it was excessive and they didn't have the power to suspend her for that long.
So I believe some calm minds prevailed and there were talks not necessarily with her, but seeing that, look, the institution is bigger than these two individuals. There are 109 senators. This is the 10th assembly since our return to democratic order. And letting this drag on unnecessarily and looking at the details on the table, like the merits and the demerits. There were more demerits in letting this drag on after, I mean, it was now being totally unfair because you had given a sentence that she didn't have any right to appeal and she served the entire 6 months punishment for whatever you said she did. And then extending it will be just diabolical. So they thought, you know what, let's let it go. She has served the 6 months. And let's look at the reputation and the integrity of the Nigerian Senate as a whole. So therefore, they did allow her resume without much drama.
Well, anyway, that's that for the story of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. We certainly believe that there will be more development, and we hope that this time it will be in the positive light and that
Absolutely.
the Senate and the senators can do what they were elected to do, represent the will of the people as opposed to making it a measurement of egos clashing. Hope that
personal
personal vendetta is set to the side and that legislative functions take the front burner. We'll now move to the next story. The First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, turned 65, and in celebration of her 65th birthday, she was able to raise 20 billion naira for National Library Fund. On the surface, looks very, very patriotic, looks
and
very noble, philanthropic. However, this has garnered reactions that we did not expect it will garner on social media. A lot of backlash, a lot more backlash than support we've seen. Well, let's take a look at this video, and after that, we'll head to X to bring out the tweets.
I'd like to send a birthday card, cakes, flowers, greetings in the newspapers, or gifts. Should please send the funds to the designated account for a special project close to my heart, among many others. The completion of the National Library. This will be the best birthday present I could receive. My love for education has informed my decision to dedicate my birthday to this worthy cause. This fund is coordinated by the Federal Ministry of Education under Oluremi at 65 Education Fund, Zenith Bank PLC. Account number is 131,031,4977. Thank you for joining me in this building project. I would like to clear the air about some speculations that maybe this has a political undertone. What is wrong in doing well or trying to build a society? If I could assist the post-war building process in Liberia by donating the Oluremi Tinubu Elementary and Junior Secondary School in Montserrado County in Liberia, what is wrong in drawing attention to some of the areas of need in our beloved nation? So the library was started during Shagari. It was maybe muted then, in 1981. And 2006, it was approved by President Obasanjo, and they started building with a budget of 8.2 billion. And so we have 20 billion, 456,188,924.93 kobo, and it's still growing. Trust me, it is still growing.
That's a lot of money. Did you contribute?
Yeah, it's a huge amount. Sorry, I missed the last few digits. The day she was calling out the Zenith Bank account, so apologies.
You couldn't.
Is it too late to contribute my own quota?
It's too late.
I have a few books I would like to donate to the library.
That's even better.
Yeah,
that's even better.
It's a very noble gesture.
So what did you genuinely think about this? Did you have an?
I mean, it's a fantastic initiative on paper. It looks good, but the way she went about it, and then there's a Ministry of Education, there's a budget, you can lobby, you could use your influence to make them pass or see that this National Library comes to fruition. And as a private citizen, because she's a private citizen at the end of the day, she's not elected, she shouldn't have gone about it that way. I do understand first ladies have their pet projects. Mariam Babangida had a better life for rural women and all of that. If it was a personal project, if she was building an Oluremi Tinubu library for the good of humanity or to serve the Nigerian people, it will be better. But this is a national library. It's almost embarrassing for private citizens to now crowdfund fixing a national project. I don't think the situation in Nigeria is that bad that we can't raise enough money to fix our library. What happened is that it wasn't priority and there was no political will to follow up from where President Obasanjo, she did mention that the idea was started by late President Shagari, and then former President Obasanjo started the building, but because of one reason or the other, they didn't follow through and the project became a white elephant project. But she's brought a new lease of life into it. But I don't think using a private funds or soliciting for citizens to, join hands to fix this was the right way to go. There are other ways of going about it.
So in a news article dated April 26, 2023, I'm seeing here that Goodluck Opia, Minister of State for Education, briefed journalists after the FEC meeting at the presidential villa. The National Library headquarters has been under construction since 2006, with the project costing billions of naira. Opia said the revised amount for the completion of the project, which is about 32.4 billion naira, has been approved by FEC. This was in 2023.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Federal Ministry of Education presented a memo for approval for the revised estimated total cost of the contract for the completion of the construction of the National Library of Nigeria headquarters building complex in Abuja. And the scope of the work for the project includes the construction of a complete structure consisting of 11 floors, 2 basement floors, and 8 upper rooms for housing bookstore, locker rooms, bindery, printing press, restaurants, clinic, creches, changing rooms, exhibition hall, auditorium, cataloging, general reference areas, legal deposits, office for the administration book stacks, reading areas, electronic data, processing center, library research and training center, public convenience. I can keep going on and on. And it was reported here that Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information and Culture, said FEC approved 1.398 billion naira for the completion of this. Okay, no, this is another one. So what happened?
Was the money not disbursed?
Was the money not disbursed? If that amount was approved in billions for the project, what happened? If that library has been in existence since, or construction since 2006, it's 2025,
yes.
And we're still talking about the National Library. So again, what we're saying, it's philanthropy.
Almost 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, 20 years, no, 19 years.
Almost
20 years.
Yes.
So if we're saying that the National Library, setting it up, it's a great idea. I think that every country, when we go abroad, we go to certain countries and we're visiting their National Library as part of the tourist attraction, because it's massive, it's big, it's beautiful, it has almost all kinds of books that you're looking for, and it carries the rich history and the culture of the people. And we should have that here in Nigeria as well. Nobody's saying that that's not great. The question is, have there been budgetary allocations for that library before? If yes, were these budgetary allocations approved? And if they were approved, why is the library not yet completed? There are questions that need to be answered in that regard. It is because of the breach of trust. That's why Nigerians would always raise an eyebrow where something that looks good on the face of it, is brought to the public space, because people will then start to look for loopholes and vacuums that this might either be trying to cover. In fact, some people have insisted, if you go on X, part of the cries or the complaints of people is they want to see the names of the actual people that donated. They want to be sure that it's not some form of money laundering exercise.
Then it's not political, and you're not doing it to gain undue political influence or favor.
Exactly.
It's a quid pro quo.
So there is a breach of trust there, and that breach of trust.
And people still went ahead to publish newspaper editorials. Wishing her
of course they would. Of course they would. We know the year word.
But maybe they did both.
Maybe they did both,
for
right?
library and also.
Okay. Nigerians, of course, have been talking about it, and we'll get to X. But let's first of all see the tweet of the Labour Party presidential candidate at the past elections, His Excellency Peter Obi. He reacted to this, maybe not in the way that you would expect. He says, We are finished.
Wow.
That's the first line. And it says, I join millions of Nigerians in wishing Her Excellency, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, a happy birthday. May God Almighty, who has been with her all these years, grant her many more healthy, fruitful, and happy years. However, I was struck by irony reading her request that instead of cakes or newspaper adverts, well wishes should donate toward completing the National Library in Abuja. On the surface, it is noble and selfless, but beneath it lies an indictment of our nation. I recall that as governor of Anambra State, I too urged that money meant for adverts be channeled into meaningful causes, computers for schools and classroom blocks. Such gestures were never meant to replace the government's duty, but to complement it. The state still bore the responsibility of providing those essentials. That is why it's shocking that in our present circumstances, while billions are easily found for jets, yachts, unused mansions, endless trips abroad, and other frivolities, the nation must rely on birthday donations to complete its own national library. That's one part of the tweet. It says, what kind of country must beg for charity to build the very temple of knowledge? What kind of leaders waste trillions on luxury and vanity, while the National Library, our intellectual furnace, remains abandoned in the capital? Serious nation street libraries are sacred, but here, we reduce them to afterthoughts, begging bowls, or birthday tokens. Mrs. Tinubu was right. Education is the most enduring legacy a nation can give its people. Yet, to know this truth and still prioritize vanity is both shocking and tragic. If Nigeria will rise, it will not be on the wings of jets or the splendor of mansions, but on the strength of minds formed in classrooms and nourished in libraries. Until then, the lament remains true. We are finished.
We are not finished
according
in
to
Jesus'
PU.
name.
Amen. That was the reaction a number of people said. We are not finished in Jesus' name. Bayo Onaduga says, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has raised over 20.5 billion naira from her birthday education fund to complete the National Library Abuja, which was started more than 30 years ago. The Ministry of Education is managing the funds. Donations are still welcome until December, so Gbenga is not too late. Please pay, and then they put the account number there, and the subject Oluremi at 65 Education
Olive, I want to
Fund.
make a joint payment. The narration will be Olive and Gbenga.
Olive and Gbenga.
Breakfast Central
Thank
crew.
you. Now, this is the press release by Sunday Diary. It says, First Lady's National Library Support Project raises 20.7 billion naira. Project not politically motivated, but love motivated. And then he goes back to give the details of this, saying that it's open up until 2025. And then he says, in an emotive and inspiring delivery, she had this to say. In his 1925 essay, The New Frontier, Gebran Khalil Gebran, a Lebanese writer, poet, philosopher, and artist wrote, and I quote, "Are you a politician asking what your country can do for you, or a zealous one asking what you can do for your country? If you are the first, then you are a parasite. If the second, then you are an oasis in a desert. That is why we take our baby steps in well-doing. Before long, things will begin to shape up for our country. We all have to rise up, play our part in the building process. A grain of sand and a drop of water makes a mighty ocean." Well, she's also debunked claims saying that it's not. She said that it's it is not politically motivated. So she's debunked those claims, and she's pointed out that as a teacher, this is her doing her part. But let's now move on to what Nigerians are saying on X about
Ordinary
everyday Nigerians.
Nigerians are saying on X. Dre Baba 6114 says, my question is, how does a national project become a personal project? We have seen many times that individuals who want to repair a road and they get stopped for saying it's a national project. What happens to the allocations in the yearly budget towards this project? Good question you raised. Nana Shetima Ambassador says, congratulations to Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu on this remarkable achievement. The Oluremi at 65 Education Fund has made significant progress, raising an impressive 20 billion naira towards completing the National Library project. Let's see if we have another tweet there.
And this one by Da Vinci Obi.
Yeah.
Da Vinci Obi says, okay, we agree. Let's wait for the so-called library and how much books will be in there.
The Wise Continent says, who are the donors? Can we see their tax returns?
Aha.
Wow. This is scrutiny on another level. 20.5 billion for National Library. Waiting to do I'm sure it's just joking. Wahab Marshall says, please, Your Excellency, Senator Remi Tinubu, Consider the former HQ National Library, Alagomeji, Yaba. No electricity for the past 3
We don't even know if that's months or years.
Internet has been cut off, infrastructure is in a state of destruction. Please help us as your constituency. Our constituency is First Lady. She's the mother of our nation. She's not...
mother of Alagomeji
Yaba.
Constituency.
She's not senator representing Alagomeji Yaba. But I do get his point. Like, while we're fixing, she's brought attention to the National Library and the culture of reading and libraries in general, we need to look at the condition and the state of national libraries all across the Federation. And also, we cannot crowdfund our way into, we can't crowdfund our way into prosperity or fixing projects. The National Stadium, Abuja, you need to look at the pitch of the main bowl. It's in a terrible state. The National Stadium in Lagos, Surulere, there's been talks about fixing and renovating it. It used to be a temple for football. It's in a state of, even cows cannot graze there. It's in a terrible state of disrepair. So we need to look at our infrastructure projects. And now that a new tax regime is coming on board and we're making money we're saving forex and we're going to have more money in the revenue purse of the federal government, it would be nice to look at some of these national projects and monuments and, fix them and not wait for politically exposed persons to celebrate their birthday and have to crowdfund it. Like His Excellency Peter Obi said, that is an indictment on our nation, and therein lies the embarrassment that he has to take a private individual's birthday to draw attention to some of those things. Why do you draw billions in budgetary allocations? Why do you have ministers? Why do you have directors in some of these ministries in the first place? So congratulations to the First Lady and all Nigerians that contributed and will contribute to that project. Okay,
now let's move away from the update with the First Lady to now talk about something that happened in Lagos, Nigeria, yesterday, the 23rd of September. Now, there were rumors about yesterday scheduled to be the date for rapture. Interestingly, the only kind of rapture that we saw yesterday was the rapture of floods.
Wow, it was terrible. It was almost similar to, I don't know, this will come a close second to that mother of all traffics that you suffered earlier this year with Joe, I think around March.
Yesterday was terrible, particularly for those who live on the island. The rains were intense, people's houses were flooded, people's cars were flooded. The flood got into people's cars. And yet again, we are reminded of the fact that Lagos is a coastal city. Now, if you're looking at this place, this is somewhere in Ikate. Wow. This is on the road towards Meadow Hall. This is that Meadow Hall axis towards the right. And this is how high the floods got. They were so high that even with SUVs, people with SUVs had their cars flooded. In my estate, there were people...
How did you get home?
So I had gotten home earlier, as soon
before the rain started.
Before the rain started. Unfortunately, my cousin decided to go out with the car and then got stuck in traffic and in flood. So this was just a tip of the iceberg. This is the express. And imagine now look at that.
So what really happened yesterday? Because the rain didn't fall for a long time, for hours.
On the mainland, it did not fall
on the mainland,
for a long time. On the island, it was a heavy downpour. Because I was surprised to hear from people on the mainland. I had a friend in Agege who said, he was going to Ikoton. I said, under this rain? He said, no, it's just dark clouds here. I said, it's been flooding. It's been raining heavily here. And people had to cancel and reschedule appointments. People had to evacuate their houses yesterday.
I mean, this is the Lekki-Epe Expressway.
This is express.
This is exactly express. And you feel there are large drainage channels and systems there, but they were simply overwhelmed. And I wonder what is really going on, because this occurrence has become more frequent. And I really feel for loss of time, the damage to property, the mechanics will be smiling to the bank. Insurance companies will be paying out claims in millions. It's really terrible because, it's a natural occurrence. It's normal for rain to fall, but I can imagine the anxiety and the psychological trauma residents of these areas will feel anytime there's a dark cloud, and the residents are in their millions. It's
a really sad. I mean, this is House on the Rock Church in Elegushi axis, and House on the Rock Church was also plagued by water.
Just look at the volume.
Look at how high it is. There were also reports of people being swept away in the floods. There was a certain video that we had seen of someone being thrown a lifeline. And I cannot confirm if this happened yesterday. I'm not sure the person, or if it's a recent video. Or if it's a recent video, we cannot confirm this. However, we just highlight these floods because, again, they bring up several conversations. In fairness to Nimet did warn about floods happening. In fact, they warned about heavy downpour of rain from Monday through Wednesday. We took that in the papers on Monday. So we've been emphasizing it. Yes, yeah. we experienced a heavy downpour on Monday and on Tuesday, and chances that there might be a heavy downpour today, these chances are very high. However, we must look at the factors that make it very intense. The impact of these floods and these flash floods when it rains. They would often say there's a tidal lockup, which prevents is the Atlantic sort of preventing like the rains and the storms. Oh my God, look at the faces of those people. Really, really sad. Well, so the tidal lockup is where they say high tides from the Atlantic Ocean and Lagos Lagoon block off storm water from draining out. And when this happens, drainage outlets are temporarily prevented from discharging. Rainwater backs up in low-lying areas. So tidal lockup is one of the reasons they will claim. We can't also deny the fact that there's also a drainage challenge, a structural
infrastructure defect
that is existent with bad roads combined with blocked drainages.
And also the people's contributory factor.
Citizens have a role to play. Citizens have a role to play in terms of being responsible with how we dispose of our garbage. Government does also have a role to play to ensure that a city, an urban city like Lagos, is properly planned, infrastructurally set up in a way to combat the effect of this. We're reclaiming lands from the sea. Every day, they're dredging one land. Look at what's happening with the Eco-Atlantic, it's not Eco-Atlantic, what's that place?
Orange Island.
No, the one that spans all the way to Calabar.
Lagos, Calabar.
Coastal Highway, thank you very much. We're reclaiming lands from the sea. These things have side effects. There have been reports about Lagos, the potential of Lagos being under the sea in a couple of years. And these predictions haven't just been for Lagos, but the question is, what proactive measures are
But Lagos will tell you that the proactive measures they're taking is building, the Eco-Atlantic project, for example, the whole of Ahmadu Bello Way used to flood because of rising sea levels and tidal waves. But now they have what they call the Great Wall of Lagos, those stones, and the Lagos Calabar Highway is also a technological barrier to prevent flooding of coastal areas. So we need to look at the environmental impact reports, and also what scientists. You're not going to listen to politicians. You need to listen to you need to hear the science of it. You need to listen to oceanographers and marine engineers to tell us what's really going on with the water systems. And then the blockage, you said, the release of the storm water, and also the rising tide of the Lagos Lagoon, preventing it from discharging. That's just, okay, it might be a problem. What are they doing about it? Because we're being blessed with immense knowledge and technology to overcome basically anything that we're faced with, and that's the beauty of humanity.
And then there's also the other part.
There are other countries that have gone through, Indonesia, Malaysia, that have gone through some of these challenges. What is the plan for the future? Because the state will keep expanding, and people can't be repairing cars every day. And some of these repairs are someone bought a Japanese car. Mercedes. Yeah, a friend had a steering rack damaged because he was in floodwater last year. It cost him more than ₦1 million to fix.
And the flip side to it would also be when we hear announcements of, move away from the lowlands to the highlands. Lagos is very populated. Some people
even understand the geography.
They even understand that. And what is our emergency response when there is chaos like this? Because regardless of how much preparation you've made, there will still be emergency situations. So what are also our emergency response in floods and also situations like this?
Warnings like a day before, so people can plan out their day if you're going to work from home.
I
and
did
things
say
like
that.
Because a lot of them...
NIMED puts out posts, and they did in the newspaper.
But we need Lagos State to step up.
So maybe what would be great would
citizens.
be, in the days when we know that we're expected to see heavy flash floods like this, it would be great to grant interviews or make videos that go on social media.
And NIMED, in fairness to them, they didn't actually mention Lagos as one of the states under threat. In the last
month, in August, they warned.
In August?
Yes, they mentioned parts of Lekki, Ikorodu.
Okay.
There are some parts, I know I did see a report like that in August. But that's all that we have. And I mean, just to say that to those who have been immensely affected by the flood, we hope that the loss hasn't been too dire and that you can find a way to recover what has been lost in the flood. And Lagos State, the onus is on you to protect your citizens. That's all that we have this morning.